Good morning. For those of you I haven't met, my name is Carl Collier. My wife Karen and I have been coming here for give or take 40 years. I am a retired licensed professional counselor and spent 40 years working in the field of substance abuse, mental health counseling, 20 of which they were foolish enough at VCU to allow me to teach as an adjunct faculty member. Wasn't real clear how that happened. I'm going to share with you a little bit today about my call and how I almost didn't hear it. Almost wanted to make the title of this after the English philosopher John Lennon, who said, "Life is what happens while you're making other plans." Really, the idea of call came to me very late in my career when my younger son was preparing to attend seminary, and we got to talking about what is driving this, and he explained call to me. Only then did I kind of get this idea of call. Now, I had heard as a child the story of Samuel, where we get the notion from that he was called in the middle of the night as a young man working in the temple and went to the priest and said, "Yes, sir," and he says, "I didn't call you." Can only imagine that scene. Then he hears it again and he goes back, and I can only imagine then the priest is kind of like, "Hey, why do you keep waking me up, kid?" Then he hears it a third time and he says, "Hold on, here am I, Lord, do with me as you will." There was also a really cool movie called Field of Dreams. Everybody knows the quote, right? "If you build it, they will come." Really good. If you read the book Shoeless Joe, which the movie was taken from, it's not the stage whisper you hear in the movie. It's the ball field announcer saying, "If you build it, they will come." That's really different. This is what colored my idea of what a call was. Now, let me give you a little bit of my backstory. I grew up really not far from here as the crow flies across the river. Sorry about that. I was raised in a church-going family. Dad was a deacon and the treasurer of their church. They were both at Westover and later at Bon Air Baptist. Mom taught 7th grade Sunday school, sang in the choir, and later was the director of their English as a Second Language program at Bon Air. They were involved. And as a child, you had to be seriously ill to get excused from going to church on Sunday morning. So I promise you, I heard all the stories. I was a very active young person. I played all the sports that were available. I was in a theater group. We would do 14 performances of a Shakespearean play in 12 high schools in conjunction with the English departments. It was great. I had a part-time job. I co-managed the student-led bookstore in my high school in my senior year. And I was a very mediocre student. During this time, for some reason I didn't understand, people started coming to me and saying, "Carl, let me tell you what's going on and see what you think." That was kind of puzzling, but that's what happened. So I would listen and just offer any observations I might have. Sometimes I just listened. During this time, it was deemed extremely important that you go to a university and get a degree, or you're going to be doing manual labor. I don't know, some of you boomers out there remember that it was a either-or proposition. And, oh, by the way, the major universities were not real interested in a very mediocre student. But I found a nice local university, small, that had a junior division downtown with the promise of you went there 2 years, did fairly well, they'd put you in the 4-year program track. That worked out nicely for me. Thank you. Appreciate that. My dad had worked in banks, was successful. He worked real hard. I thought, okay, business. I'll study business. Nope. No, I was dying. It was accounting and third semester economics that just about killed me. But I had taken a psychology course and I thought, wow, hold on, there's something here. So I started studying that. Now, they don't tell you in undergrad that you can't do much with a baccalaureate degree in psychology. So I did find a job for a company adjusting insurance claims. They said you'll help people in their time of need. Well, that wasn't the whole story, but I did happen at one point in that to work a workman's compensation case for a young man who'd broken his spine at the 5th cervical vertebra and was quadriplegic, 18 years old. And it was something. I said, this is something I could do. And I felt energized and invigorated. So what do baby boomer kids do in that case? You go back to school. So not the small university now, but a rather large local university. I went from a school with 3,000 or so students to a school with close to 30,000 students very close by here. And in a very different kind of procedure, the course I just had to take was full. I remember standing in a long line in the basement of the mosque, and you get to the front and they say, sorry, we don't have any IBM punch cards left for that class. You can't take it. Nope. Okay, once again, what do? There was a very interesting sounding class on alcoholism and the recovery of alcoholism, and I remembered as an undergrad seeing some foolishness I thought maybe there would be a price to pay for later, if you know what I'm saying. So I took that class and it just lit my fire. I went into that field at a time when everyone else ahead of me was themselves recovering from this problem, and it was a little bit of a controversy and a little bit of a struggle at times to get accepted, but it felt like the big hand had picked up the pawn on the chessboard and said, sir, this is where you belong over here. No voice, no one calling my name, no stage whisper, no announcer voice, no parting of the clouds or anything like that, except this is where you need to be. I'm going to place you there. Kicking and screaming the whole way. This is not what I'm planning. No, this is where you need to be, sir. So, the lesson is listen for your call. Just be aware that it may not sound like what you expect it to sound like, or it may not have any sound at all.